Hello and Namaskar. Welcome to another session of BW4HANA Tidbits, where I share some of my knowledge and experience.
My name is Devanshu Mukherjee, and today we are going to discuss BW4HANA FAQs. I have seen a lot of questions floating around in blogs, on LinkedIn, on various portals and forums. So today I am going to consolidate the most frequently asked questions about BW4HANA and try to answer them. So questions like, I already have S4HANA, then why do I need BW4HANA? What is the difference between BW on HANA and BW4HANA? I have heard about terms like embedded analytics, AMDP, CDS views. What are those and how do they relate to BW? Can I go directly from BW 7.x versions to 2.0 directly? Should I go for native HANA based data warehousing or BW4 HANA based data warehousing? Is BW4 HANA mandatory if I go for S4 HANA and vice versa? Well, a lot of questions like these we will try to answer here in this video. So let's get started.
Okay, so first let's answer the very basic question, what is BW4 HANA? So BW4 HANA is SAP's proprietary data warehousing software. And it's a new product. It is not a successor for previous BW versions. That's a very important point you should keep in mind. It is completely new product, and that's why the versioning is also new. It starts with 1.0, 2.0, so on and so forth. It does not continue the previous versioning, which is 7.3, 7.4, 7.5, etc. So it's a completely new product. It only runs on HANA. It cannot run on any other database. That's why it's called BW4 HANA. So it is only for HANA as a database. Now, if you look at the journey here in the screenshot, this is the journey for BW with respect to HANA. So when HANA was first introduced in 2011, BW version on HANA was launched in 2012. That was called Project Orange. And I was a part of that project in a small way. I was with SAP. So I was working with SAP Global Delivery that time. And fortunately, I was one of the first ones in the world to get certified as well, because I was with SAP and in that Project Orange. So it was launched in 2012. First version was 7.3. Now you will see here the naming convention used is powered by HANA. Many of us get confused. What is the difference between on HANA and powered by HANA? So just the naming terminology is interchangeable, but it is one and the same thing. So if somebody says BW on HANA or if somebody says BW powered by HANA, it's one and the same thing. So BW 7.3 on SAP HANA was launched in 2012. And then we also got 7.4, which was powered by SAP HANA. And then we moved on to 7.5 powered by SAP HANA, or you can also say 7.5 on HANA, and it stopped there. There is no version called 7.6. It stopped, the BW on HANA stopped on 7.5. Of course, different service packs were released. Service pack 4, 5, 6, 7, I think till maybe 18, 19, 20. I'm not sure what is the latest, but it went beyond 15. I'm sure about that. And after that, SAP released BW4 HANA. So then you will ask me, what is this last part, which says 7.5 edition for SAP HANA? Well, that is a prerequisite to go to BW4 HANA. So if you are on 7.4 or 7.3 or 7.5, you have to install an add-on. And that add-on is called BW 7.5 edition for SAP HANA. It's just a small software which you have to download and install on your BW. Only when you install this software, you are ready to move to BW4 HANA. That means the migration. You can do the migration only when you install this add-on. So this is not a full-fledged version of BW, but it is just a simple add-on in order for you to be ready or make technically ready for BW4 HANA. And in 2016, this was released. To be exact, I think sometime in September 2016, BW4 HANA 1.0 was released. Today, the latest version is BW4 HANA 2.0 SP5. So that's where we are. So this is the journey with respect to HANA for BW. But BW was there well before HANA was launched. BW was there, and this is the entire journey of BW till BW4HANA. So it started in 1998 with 1.0, then we moved on to 1.2 in 1999, 2.x 2000, 3.x 2001. So you can see till 3.x it's very frequent. Every year a new version was launched. Why? Because it was new in the market and SAP was, improving it or enhancing it very fast. In 3.x, it became fairly stable, and then it moved on to 7.x. And in 7.x, also it was fairly stable for some time. 7.x was the version which introduced InfoCube and other things. DTP, InfoCube, the new objects were introduced. So this was called a major release. 7.x was a major release. Actually, InfoCube was already there, but new technologies like DTPs and other things came into picture. Transformations were introduced in 7.x. So there were some new, completely new objects which were introduced. So that's why it was a very important release. And then with the introduction of HANA in 2012, as we saw, the BW 7.3 on HANA was introduced. And from there, it went on 13, 15, and 16, BW4HANA was introduced. So 25th February 2019 is when 2.0 was introduced. So this is the entire journey of BW. All right. Now, I have been talking about BW a lot, but some of you might, still wonder what is exactly BW. Okay, it's a data warehousing software from SAP, but what is a data warehouse? And how is it different from a transactional system such as ECC or S4? So let's quickly look at the definition. So what is a data warehousing software and what is a transactional software? Well, transactional software, also known as OLTP, online transactional processing, is, you can say, a developer. Okay, so if I have to compare this from something which we see on a daily basis, I can say that transactional system is a developer who is doing day-to-day work, and your data warehousing, which is also called OLAP, by the way, sorry, there's a typo mistake. So this one should be OLAP, online analytical processing, is the manager. Okay, so you can remember it for you to visualize. Transactional system is developer who's doing day-to-day work. So he's given the assignment by the manager, and then he does the task, and at the end of the day he submits. And then the manager is the one who collects the status for different tasks from different developers and then reports to top management. That's what a manager does. Exactly in the same way, you can say that transactional system is a system which is used for day-to-day transactions. So for example, a finance guy will enter data in OLTP. A sales and distribution guy will enter data. A talent or HR guy will also enter in the same system. So it's a transactional system where people are entering data on a daily basis and the business is running on top of that. So that's a developer. But then the manager, which is BW, collects data from the transaction systems, consolidates the data together, and then generates reports. So the final end goal of BW is to generate reports, and those reports are then used by the top management to take decisions. So that's the difference between an OLTP, a transaction system, which is called S4 in SAP's software landscape. It is called S4HANA. And the manager, who's the BW, data warehouse, which collects data and then consolidates and generates report, is called BW4HANA. So these are two separate systems, guys. Okay, they are connected, of course, because BW has to collect data from S4, but they are two separate systems. Okay. With that understanding, let's move on to a very, very important and common question. If I have S4, why do I require BW4? So this question comes into mind because S4 is also sitting on HANA. The S4 system, the transaction system, is also sitting on HANA, and BW is also sitting on HANA. So then a very common question is, okay, I have S4, it's very strong, it has all the benefits and the power of HANA, I am leveraging that. then why the heck do I require BW for HANA, right? And the answer to that is you still require BW4. S4 HANA does not make BW obsolete. Why? There are multiple reasons. Some of them are these. Most of the organizations, they don't have just S4 as your source. They will have other systems also as a source. Say, for example, you have PeopleSoft, you have Oracle-based systems, you have SQL Server-based systems, you have cloud systems like SuccessFactors or others, Ariba. There can be many. So a company can have multiple systems, and usually company have multiple systems. So, and S4 is one of them. So you have to collect data from all these systems, not just S4. So data warehousing is actually designed to collect data from multiple systems. BW4 is designed to collect from multiple systems. You cannot do that for S4. You cannot connect all your other systems to S4 and then ask S4 to do the reporting. S4 is not designed for that. So because of the fact that a company has multiple systems, not just S4, you need a separate data warehouse which collects the data, consolidates the data, and presents it to the top management. So that is one of the most important reasons you still require BW4. Second reason is that S4 definitely can handle transactions and reporting. Okay, I'm not denying that. It can handle. But after a certain point of time, it starts to slow down. That's exactly what happened in one of my clients. They bought S4 HANA license. They did not have BW4 HANA license. They said, because it is powered by HANA, it should be able to do reporting and transaction both. And because the company was a startup company, they had very few users and the volume was very less. S4 was performing beautifully. It was doing the reporting very well with the transactions, so they were happy. But over the time, when the volume increased, when the number of users increased, and a lot of people are asking now reports, not just a report from sales and distribution only or for finance only, but they're asking combine these areas and then give me a report. Then what we witnessed was that S4 started to slow down. So even though S4 is very powerful, it cannot handle a multi-billion dollar organization's reporting needs and the volume with the volume. So that's why even though S4 is strong, it is always recommended that you have a different data warehousing solution which can do reporting for you, so that you can leave the developer to do his or her task. If the developer is in the middle of the work and you keep asking, okay, tell me how many tasks are completed, how many tasks are not completed, tell me how many are under red escalations, how many you will be able to complete, he will not be able to do or she will not be able to do her task. That's what exactly happens with S4. If you keep bugging S4 with reports, give me this report, give me that report, it will not be able to cope up after a certain point of time. So that's why you still require BW as a separate data warehousing solution. Third important point, S4 HANA downtime. Say, for example, you don't have a data warehousing separate, you only have S4. If your S4 goes down, your reporting goes down. Okay. But if you have a separate BW, even if your S4 is down due to some reason, your BW will still be operational. You can still continue doing reporting. Of course, your data flow will stop. The movement of data from your transaction to your data warehousing will stop. But the existing data which you already have in BW, that will continue to be used. So that is another major reason. And of course, any upgrades which you will do for S4 will result in downtimes for reporting as well, unavailability for reporting as well, if you don't have a separate reporting software. So these are one of the most important reasons why you still require BW software, even though you have S4. Okay. All right. Now, another question, very common question is BW on HANA, BW for HANA. What's the difference? Many people are confused. They think that it's one and the same thing, but it's not. So let's look at quickly the difference.
Devanshu, I had a small question. Are we allowed to ask questions in the meeting, or we have a Q&A session?
Yes, I have a dedicated Q&A session actually at the end. So I would request to just hold on to your question, and at the end, I will come back and we'll answer those questions. Is that okay?
Thanks, David. Thanks.
Okay, sure. All right. So BW on HANA and BW for HANA. If I already have BW for HANA, why should I go for if I have BW on HANA in my landscape, why should I go for BW for HANA? These questions are being asked by a lot of clients. They are saying that I already have license for BW on HANA. Everything is going well. Tell me the reason why I should go for BW for HANA. So to answer that, you should know the difference between BW on HANA and BW for HANA. BW on HANA, you still can use InfoCube and multi-providers. So the old types of objects are still allowed. So if you have something which is very critical, for example, you have real-time InfoCubes, planning is being done on that. You have inventory InfoCubes and you don't want to disturb that. You can still be on BW on HANA and use the cube and multi-providers. BW for HANA does not allow you to use any older objects. InfoCube is not allowed, multi-providers are not there. Only new types of objects you can use, which is advanced DSO and composite provider. Second, info objects and fields both are there in BW on HANA, but info objects are used 95% of the time. Okay, fields are used less because they are not yet matured in BW on HANA. The features related to fields, the support for field-based DSOs is not there, or if it's there, it is very minimal in BW on HANA. Whereas in BW for HANA, you can use info objects and fields with equal flexibility. All the features for info objects, most of the features for info objects are also there for fields. Of course, there are info object specific features which are not there in fields. So that's why when it comes to reporting relevant info providers, info objects are still used and still recommended for BW for HANA. But fields have more flexibility and usage in BW for HANA. RSA1 T code, one of our favorite T codes, guys. Modeling tab is available in BW on HANA. That means from the GUI, from the backend, you can still do modeling in BW on HANA. But in for HANA, you cannot do any modeling in GUI. You have to do all modeling in Eclipse, which is HANA Studio, okay, which is an Eclipse plugin. So you have to do all the modeling in Eclipse. Then BW on HANA is not cloud.
If this fields is a new type of object or artifact in BW4 HANA, because I've never heard this field.
Yes. Fields are not a new type of, you can say it's basically data source. You have used data source and data source had only fields, right? So those
Correct.
fields are used for DSOs, ADSOs also. In BW on HANA, our fields used to end at data source level. And from there on, we had info objects, right? But in BW for HANA, the advanced DSOs are also can be purely field based.
I see.
Okay, so an advanced DSO at a component memory layer or at a staging layer is only field based in BW for HANA. So that's the difference.
So you can actually skip the PSA and you can load directly from the data source to the ADSO.
That's right. Yes, PSA is gone. In BW for HANA, there is no PSA. In BW on HANA, PSA was optional. Okay, most of the time it was there, but there was also an option to make it optional. You can skip PSA. In BW for HANA, there is no PSA at all. There is no info package at all in BW for HANA. Okay, those are some of the major differences. Then coming to the next point, modeling objects. There were a lot of modeling objects in BW on HANA. We had info cubes, we had virtual providers, we had info sets, we had multi-providers. So there were around 10 objects for modeling. All of them are consolidated into only 4 objects in BW for HANA. So there is no virtual provider separately. Okay, we have OpenODS view, which has replaced the virtual providers. There is no info set anymore. Composite providers have replaced both multi-providers and info sets. So modeling objects are consolidated. BW on HANA is a part of NetWeaver, and Java Stack is available in BW on HANA. BW4HANA is no more a part of NetWeaver stack. Please remember that, guys. And it does not have any Java Stack anymore. So at the time of migration, this is one of the tasks for Basis guys to decouple the Java Stack and then migrate your existing BW to BW4HANA. So there is no Java Stack and it's not a part of NetWeaver. There is something called data flow modeler, which is very, very important when you are building the entire flow, starting from your data source to your advanced DSO to your composite provider. There's a modeler, data flow modeler, which helps you and saves a lot of time when you're doing modeling. But there is no such data flow modeler in BW on HANA. Then next is BW on HANA. There is a GUI based administration and monitoring. That means you will log on to the backend system and there you will do all your administration and your monitoring. In BW4HANA, it's a theory-based portal, online portal, which is called BW4 Cockpit, is used for administration and monitoring. Okay, Eclipse is used for modeling, and BW4 Cockpit is used for administration and monitoring. Even your process chains, you no longer create in the backend in RSPC. You create those process chains in BW4 Cockpit. Next is very important again, ODP, Operational Data Provisioning, is a new type of source system. It is optional in BW on HANA. Okay, in BW on HANA, we still use the SAPI based connection, RFC connection for the data sources. But ODP is the default and the only source system type available for the SAP extractors. Even for CDS views, ODP is the default and recommended source system type. So this is a big change. Source system type has changed in BW4HANA. Info package and DTP are both there in BW on HANA. Only DTP is there in BW4HANA. There is no info package. PSA is mandatory. I think you can make it optional also in BW on HANA. PSA is obsolete and is gone. So which object has replaced PSA? Inbound table of the advanced DSO, which is the first table where data comes, has replaced PSA. And this table will allow you to modify records. Okay. The main advantage of PSA was we could load data, edit the records in PSA and send it forward. Same thing you can do with inbound table now. Okay. There is no PSA anymore. So these are some of the salient features or salient differences rather, which you have to keep in mind when you decide whether BW4HANA is required or you want to go there or still you are not ready. Okay, so this is just a pictorial depiction of the info providers, how it evolved. So starting from 1.2, you see we had info object, cube, info package, update rule, transfer rules. This is 3.x flow, by the way, multi-provider and query. Then we had info spoke, which was introduced, which was used to send data out of BW. We had ODS object, info set, virtual provider, etc. It went on, transformation was introduced in 7.0, DTP was introduced, transient providers, and then gradually these were consolidated, and in 7.5 and now in BW4HANA, we have DSO advanced, composite provider, open ODS view, and info object. These are the 4 consolidation I was talking about. So if you scroll up, I said modeling objects are 4. So what are those 4? Info object, advanced DSO for persistency. That means data is actually loaded in them. And virtual are composite providers and open ODS views. These are used for virtual access. So only these 4 info providers, you can do all types of modeling. Of course, there is analysis process designer, APD we used to call. Now it is called HAP. But from an info provider standpoint, there are only 4. Okay, that's the evolution of your info providers. Then the next question is, what happens to the older BW versions? Are they obsolete or are they still supported? The answer is they are still supported. And this is the table I have created for a quick overview of which version of BW is supported till what date. Okay, RTC stands for release to customer. So starting from 7.0, it was released in 2006. Earlier, SAP said that I'm going to stop the maintenance in 2017, but recently they announced that it will be extended till 2027. So we still have time, customers still have time to prepare, plan their migration and go to BW4HANA. 7.3 till 2020, 4 also 2020, 5 is there till 2027. BW4HANA 1.0 will end maintenance 2021 and 2.0 in 2024. Okay, there's an SAP note 1648480. You can refer to that note. It has clearly what dates are there for the end of maintenance for which BW version. All right. Next question. I get this question so frequently that I can't even, I can't even tell you, because people say what they have the notion is, if I have BW, S4 is mandatory, or if I have S4, BW is mandatory. Neither of that statement is true. Please remember that BW4HANA can be implemented with ECC as your source. You don't need to upgrade your source to S4. And similarly, for S4, you don't need BW. Your normal BW will work with S4. Of course, there are some changes you have to make sure you adhere to. But apart from that, you don't have to upgrade your BW to BW4 if you are going for S4 and vice versa. Okay. If you have ECC and you are upgrading only your BW to BW4HANA, and if you want to use the new source system type, which is ODP, you have to implement this note. As soon as you implement this note in your ECC, immediately your new type of source system will be available for you to consume in your BW4HANA. But please remember the point that S4 is not mandatory for BW4 and BW4 is not mandatory for S4. Okay, next question. How about HANA DB versions? So for HANA DB versions, what you have to remember is, if you are using BW4HANA 1.0, it can run on both 1.0 and 2.0 HANA. I'm talking about the database. But BW4HANA 2.0 can only run on HANA 2.0. It cannot run on HANA 1.0. So that's definitely a dependency there. So if you have HANA 1.0, you want to go for BW4HANA 2.0, you have to mandatorily upgrade your HANA database to 2.0. Okay. How about source system? So for example, I am upgrading my BW to BW4HANA. What is the minimum source system release I should have? That's another very common question. And the answer is, you should be on ECC 6.0 or higher. If you have CRM, it should be on 5.0 or higher. And if you have SCM, supply chain management, your demand planning, supply network planning, etc., you should be on 5.0 or higher. So this is the minimum source release you should have for you to go for BW4HANA. Okay. Next, can I go directly from BW 7. Say, for example, 7.3 to BW4HANA 2.0? Yes, you can go there. But there is a prerequisite. What is that prerequisite? You should be on BW4HANA 2.0 SP2 or higher. Only then you can go directly to 2.0. Otherwise, you have to go to 1.0, BW4HANA 1.0 first, and then go to 2.0. Okay, so that's the minimum prerequisite. And what about non-source systems, non-SAP? You have, say, for example, Oracle based or SQL Server based. So they are supported for BW4HANA. Okay, but they should be compatible with SDA or SDI, because the method to extract the data in BW4HANA for non-SAP source systems is SDA or SDI. So as long as your non-SAP source system is compatible with these, you are good. Another question. Yesterday itself I got this questions asked. What about standard content of LO cockpit? Remember our favorite LO cockpit, logistics cockpit, your sales and distribution data sources. Are they still the same? Answer is yes. LO cockpit, source side LO cockpit, there is no change. RSA 5 process is the same, activation of the data source. RSA 6 post processing is the same. LBWE, where you activate your delta mechanism and your data source, it's the same. So for the LO cockpit, nothing has changed. Process to activate the standard extractors stays the same, no change there. Process to enhance the standard extractors has changed. What is the change? Previously, we used to go to RSAP 001 and then there are certain exits, and then we enhance them in CMOD code. Now, instead of that CMOD code, you have to enhance your standard extractors with a baddie, which is RSU5 SAP_baddie. Use this baddie, create an enhancement spot of this baddie, and then do your enhancement for the standard extractors. So that process has changed. Enhancement via RSAP 001 is obsolete and should not be used. And another very important one is there is something called CDS views. There's a new concept which is introduced, and going forward, all the standard extractors for BW will be based on CDS views. And how you enhance those CDS views based extractors? Via something called a extension CDS views. So CDS views are of two types, regular and extension CDS views. So using those extension CDS views, you will enhance that extractor which is based on CDS views. This is part of our training. Okay, so we are going to create CDS views. We are going to create extension CDS views and extract them in BW. Okay. Okay, so terms like CD. Yeah, go
connection was interrupted. My connection was interrupted, and I lost that above point. The one before this. The standard content, seriously above that one.
Okay, so what I will do is the recording will be there.
What about not? Okay.
Okay, so recording will be there. I would suggest, because of the interest of time, I apologize. I am not going back because I have to cover a few more things. I'm sorry about that. But you in the recording, you will be able to hear. Yeah. Okay. So terms like CDS views, embedded analytics, AMDP, right? We all have heard these terms in blogs, in LinkedIn, in the video tutorials. But what exactly are those, and are they relevant for BW? The answer is yes, they are relevant for BW. How? We'll quickly see. So CDS views. What is a CDS view? CDS view is nothing but a new way to create a select query in ECC or in S4 rather. Okay, I repeat, CDS view is a new way to create a select query on multiple tables. So it's just like a DB view. We used to create a create view statement, DB view. It's a new way to create a view in S4HANA. What is AMDP? AMDP is nothing but a new way to implement ABAP methods. So if you are familiar with classes and methods in ABAP, so every method has a definition and every method has an implementation. So the implementation of the method is done via a database procedure. Okay, so classes and methods concept is still there. There is no change. The change is that the method now you will implement is via a new type of code. And that code is nothing but your database procedure code. That's the only thing. That's all is AMDP. Okay, so you have to remember the definition so that in simplified terms you should understand these. And how are they relevant for BW? Well, as I told you, the data sources which will be released for BW4HANA, okay, in future, will all be based on CDS views. Standard and custom data sources also you should create on CDS views. And the technical content in BW4HANA, technical content means your zero TCT, right? Your statistics, BI statistics, all that technical content will be based on CDS views. So that's why it's very important for us to understand what are the CDS views, how to create those CDS views, and how to consume that in BW4HANA. Everything is there as part of this training. Okay, don't worry about that. So just a pictorial depiction, you can see that old world, we used to have all these tables in S4HANA and we used to create programs, Z programs, and use them in front end. Now in the new world, on top of the tables, you will have CDS views, and that CDS view will be used in the front end. So that's the difference. Earlier, directly we used to use tables, but now there is a middle layer which is called CDS views, which will sit on top of the tables, and then CDS views will be used in your front end. There is something called annotations in CDS views, which is used for extraction. So if you want a CDS view to be extracted in BW, you have to include certain mandatory annotations. What is an annotation? What are those mandatory annotations? Don't worry, everything I am going to cover as part of this training when we create CDS views. So this is the future direction from SAP. They are saying that the data sources, okay, for ODP will all be based on CDS data models. So ABAP data models, existing ODP, new data models will be based on new CDS views, and there'll be an automatic generation planned, meaning the moment you activate a CDS view, it will also generate a data source. So that kind of automatic generation is also planned for upcoming releases. And the third term, which we have heard a lot, is embedded analytics. What is that? Please remember, in a very simple term, embedded analytics is nothing but a bunch of CDS views in S4. Okay, the group or a bunch of CDS views, which are standard CDS views given by SAP, together they are called embedded analytics. Why embedded analytics? Because reporting in S4 is done using these CDS views. Previously, they were called HANA Live. If you are familiar with this, they were called HANA Live. It was based on HANA CVs. Now they are based on CDS views. Okay. And where would we use AMDP? So we saw how we use CDS, but where do we use AMDP in BW? AMDP is used in two places in BW. First is transformations. BW transformations. Now the routines, start routine, end routine, field routine, expert routine, all the routines will be written as an AMDP class. You will no longer write it in a simple ABAP code, which we used to write. It is going into an AMDP class. Okay, and that class is automatically generated. Don't worry, you don't have to write a class. That is automatically generated.
So Devanshu, does the field routine also be possible in AMDP?
Right now, I think field routine are probably not there for AMDP. Yeah. Right now, we only have the start, end, and expert routine. But going forward, if you have complex field routines, they will also be created as AMDP. But right now, yes, you're right. Right now, it's not there for field.
Yeah. Actually, we have tried that basically, but it does not support. So.
You're right. Okay, you're right. 100%. Yeah. So the moment you create an expert routine or end routine or start routine, it will ask you, do you want to create ABAP or do you want to create AMDP? So the moment you click AMDP, you will write the database procedure compatible code, HANA database procedure compatible code. A class is already generated for you, a method is generated for you, you just have to write the code inside that. And again, we will do all this as part of our training. We are going to enhance that transformation with routines, and there I'll show you what is the format of AMDP. Okay, this is one of the interfaces which gets generated and added, AMDP marker HDB, one of the most important interfaces if you want to use AMDP. Again, I am not going to teach you the ABAP classes and methods. Okay, I expect you that you know the concept, and if you don't know the concept, maybe a little bit of a reading, if you can do, I would request you, so that you are aware of what is a class, what is a method, because that's the ABAP OOPS concept. Okay, this training is not about teaching you ABAP OOPS. This the class and method is used in transformation. So definitely I will tell you what is an AMDP, but I would expect you to know the class and methods process or the concept rather. And then finally, another very important and common question is there anything which Eclipse cannot do and you still have to go back to GUI to do that? And there are more than a couple of things which you still have to go to GUI. The most important ones are business content activation. So if you want to activate your standard content, your info objects, composite providers, ADSOs, transformations, you still have to do it with the transaction code GUI based editors. There is no Eclipse editor so far as I know. And then transports.
But we can get over from Eclipse itself, right?
Yes. Absolutely. Okay. Yeah, you're right. So what the gentleman is trying to say is, yes, you have to do with GUI, but that GUI also you can open within Eclipse. Okay, you don't have to navigate out of Eclipse. You can still do in Eclipse, but there is no Eclipse editor, like native Eclipse editor, which can do that for you right now. You still have to go to the transaction code within Eclipse, and I'll show you in a moment in the demo how you can do that. And then in transports, if you want to do transports, your cockpit can do that, okay, but still it's not yet matured enough to do all the things in a proper way. So I still prefer going to the transaction code SE01 or SE10 or SE09 and do the transport. But then again, within Eclipse, not going out of Eclipse. Okay, so these are some of the most frequently asked questions. I thought that I'll quickly, discuss this with you so that people will have clarity and can answer these questions.